Welcome, everybody, to Coffee with Colby. We are excited to sit down with Colby again. My name's KT. I'm the youth minister at the Winnsboro Church of Christ. And we have Colby, our minister here, Colby Clapp. Colby, we got some good questions here today for you. But I guess before we get started, is there anything going on this week that has kind of made you excited, or anything maybe that's kind of shaken up your world at all, or what's up?
As far as this week, not too much. Actually, it was Sunday. We were down there in Winnsboro. We were doing some house hunting Sunday afternoon. It was, that's always kind of a fun experience because it's neat to see all the different houses.
Right.
Most of the ones we saw were like, yeah, that won't work. Yeah, that won't work. Yeah, that won't work. Just because most of them didn't have the space that we require. But it's still, it's fun to do. And hopefully something soon will either open up or we'll find the right way to find that we can even work or use our own. So,
right.
We were down in Winnsboro this past week, so kind of fun. But
that's awesome.
I didn't get to see anybody really, except for I saw you for half a minute. But it'd be so nice when I get to see everybody in the church. Obviously,
definitely, man. Did you ever watch House Hunters?
No, but my wife likes, Fixer Upper, and she also likes the one with the two brothers.
Property Brothers or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah. I haven't watched them much, but Lisa likes them, and we don't have cable, but when she's at her mom's house or something, her mom's living with us now, but when her mom had her house, and she would go over there sometimes, and they'd binge watch stuff like that together.
Man, I love some House Hunters growing up. That was always a fun thing to sit and watch with the family and see these people. There's a thing going around, I think on Twitter a while back, where it was like talking about the types of people that get on House Hunters, and they say like, "Oh, I'm retired and not doing anything," and then their spouse is like, I think a friend of mine made one that said, "Oh, I'm a Dorito artist." And our budget is like $2.5 million. It's like, what?
What gets me about the Chip and Joanna Gaines, or any of them, are a lot of times they'll say, all right, our budget's $250. And then they come back with them and say, well, we can do this for $320. And it's amazing to me. People say, yeah. I'm like, where did that $70,000 just come from? They just fall out of the,
Yeah.
I don't grasp the idea behind it. Like, we can, almost double our house payment. What planet do you live on? Because if I set a limit, it's like that kind of has to be the limit, because we need
Man, we're just in the wrong profession, man.
It's crazy. Those shows just make my jaw drop. One show that Lisa and I liked that came on Netflix, I think a year or so ago, was this not Strange Homes, but Unique Homes, or Worlds. And there are some out of this world ones that are just, and some are really, really cool. Others are just make you scratch your head and wonder what designer or architect thinking. Yep. It's a pretty cool show.
I guess that's the one where they take some random old building, or even if it wasn't a building, and convert it into something, or is that what kind of like it is?
This one is just seeing kind of some of the architectural marvels after they've already been built. I forget the world's most something homes. Maybe I'll text it to you. You can put it up on the screen.
Sounds good.
The title now, but
man, well, cool.
It's a cool show.
Well, I'm excited for y'all to continue your search, your house hunting, and everything. And I pray that obviously we're all praying for you to find the best home possible. So we're excited. I
appreciate that very much.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, to get us started, this question comes from a little close to home for you. I think maybe there's a specific
the setup is what it is.
There's a specific story in mind here from your lovely wife, Lisa, and I'll put up exactly what she said. But essentially, she wants us to hear your most embarrassing preacher moment. So,
okay,
I'll let you take it away.
Well, a couple of years ago here in McAllister, I've been here maybe a year or two. So I was coming into church early on a Sunday morning, like I usually do. I usually get here between 5 or 6, and I'll do that in Winnsboro too, just because kind of collect my thoughts and just make my coffee, just kind of prepare mentally something for the day, go back over my notes and make sure that all the presentation stuff is ready to go. Now here I kind of do quite a bit of the sound booth stuff too, so I got to do the song slides and that's. Anyway, I was here doing all that, and then it was raining hard. It was a stormy night, the night before in the morning, and we have a walkway in between the main building and the annex, and it kind of sits a little bit low, so it gets water in it when it rains hard. And there's a sump pump there that takes the water out to the culvert beside the street, but the sump pump has a sticky floater valve, so it doesn't always come on like it should. You go over there and kind of bang on it.
Right.
And so it was raining pretty hard. The walkway in between the buildings was full, and that's how the kids get to Bible classes and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go out and I'll bang on that sump pump and
get it to drain, right? Okay.
Get it to drain. And this is 5:30 in the morning, so I hadn't been here long. And I start to go out and think, I'm in my dress pants.
Right,
and dress shirt. And it's raining pretty hard still.
Yeah.
And the water in between the walkways, it's probably 3 or 4 inches deep. And I don't want to get my dress shoes all messed up. I take my shoes off and my socks off and start to roll up my dress pants and think, well, the dress pants can fall back down and my dress shirt getting wet. Like, nobody's here. It's a very enclosed area in between our church buildings.
Right.
It's fenced in, privacy fence for the kids to go safely in between the classes without anybody. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna,
oh boy,
get in my boxers real fast, run out, hit the sump pump, and come right back in. And so I do. I'm in my boxers and my undershirt, and I go out. And I grab the broom handle because that's why I use the bang on the sump pump floater valve. And then I hear a sound, click. And I realize I've not unlocked the doors. And my keys are inside my pants, which are inside the church building.
Oh, no.
On the side of the locked door.
Right.
So there I am.
Did you get it drained at least?
I tap on it and it starts to work, but then I can't get back in. And my cell phone is in my pants as well. So I am outside the church building in my boxer shorts and my undershirt. And it's pouring rain.
Ready to greet everyone that morning.
It's maybe getting close to 6 now, so still 2 hours before church service starts. And what do I do? So I go around and check all the doors because sometimes church doors get left open accidentally, and I'm praying, God, please let a church door be left open.
Let me guess.
It happens other weeks. Let it be this week too, but no, actually, the elders just met a week or 2 ago and had addressed the issue, and so people were being extra cautious, and so they had come and locked it up nice and tight.
Good job.
Yeah, great timing. And so I go, and my car is unlocked. I'm thankful for that I did not lock my car. So I run around. Do you have a spare key in it?
Do you have a spare key in it or anything?
No, but it's at least unlocked so I can sit in it and get out of the rain because it's still a pretty good downpour. So I'm getting wet, but I'll run around and, the sun's barely up and nobody's out. But I sit in the car thinking, what am I going to do? Can't start the car. Can't call my wife. And I see a cop or two drive by. And the first cop I see drive by, I think, he'd probably help me. But then I thought, I like to see the headline of crazy preacher high on meth or something, runs out in his boxer shorts and T-shirts, waving at a cop like, hey, trying to get him to stop. So I'm thinking maybe that's not the best approach.
Right.
And then I see another one, but it's on the road that's a little bit further away. Our road sits on an intersection just like the road does. And on the busy road, I'm like, I'm definitely not going to run that way. So after sitting there about 45 minutes or so, and I was getting a little bit closer to 7.
Right.
I think, all right. Mike, his last name's Dusenberry, lives right up the road, about a quarter mile. And I don't think I have an option, because the last thing I want to do is be in my boxers when people do start getting here for church.
Then they walk in and see your clothes sitting there.
So the rain's lifted a little bit. It's kind of a slow drizzle now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, or however you might look at it, I'm not really embellishing this much. This is very much how it happens. So the rain lightened up, and so it wasn't a downpour. And I'm bare feet, boxers, t-shirt, and I just start hoofing it up the road. And it's a little housing neighborhood, and thinking, hopefully not too many people looking out the window or wondering, and maybe I just look like a jogger. And I will say this: I am now fully convinced boxers are better than briefs.
Oh man!
Imagine how I would have handled it in tidy whities.
Right. Certainly.
But I was in my boxers, I ran up, and the funny part is when I get to his house, 5 minutes or so or less, and he just lives right up the street, so a quarter mile or less, and okay, got to go for this. So I knock on the door.
Hide behind a bush.
I'm just standing there. And the funny thing is, his wife, Debbie, opens the door, and Debbie is salt of the earth, kindest-hearted woman,
Right.
Just one of those that, and thankfully our churches have usually quite a few of these beautiful ladies with beautiful souls, and she's one of them. And I see her kind of hesitate on the other side of this frosted glass, and I see her move, and she's trying to guess who it is, and she kind of cracks open the door and goes, "Oh, hi, Colby. How are you this morning?" And she opens up the door and says, "Come on in." And she doesn't say anything about the fact that I'm in my boxers and an undershirt.
Soaking wet. Yeah.
And later on, she said that she didn't have glasses on, so she wasn't even paying that much attention. But I'm like, man,
thank goodness.
She welcomes me in, and then Mike comes in too, because he was wondering who's at the door that early in the morning on a Sunday morning. And Mike sees me, so I recount the story to them after asking if I can use their phone, and I call Lisa, and then Lisa meets me down here later, and get back in the building. I get clothed, but it was a very fun experience. And
my goodness.
And actually that morning I decided to go ahead and just share it with the congregation. So the intro to my sermon, I said, "Guess what happened to me this morning?" I didn't want the rumors to go flying. Who knows what could be. So I kind of laid it all out there, and everybody got a good laugh. And but the thing is that sump pump still doesn't work very well. You still got to go out there and bang on it. But now I just get my pants and clothes wet.
Right. It's a little better than the alternative.
It is.
Oh, man.
I could have made that mistake again, but I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how much my stomach just sank when I heard that click behind me, and I knew instantly what I had done, and the fact that,
man.
But Mike and Debbie, the funny thing is, even with Mike, it had stormed that night, and so he's driving me back down to the church building. But as we get in his car, he says, "You mind if I run by the store first?" He owns a little business here in town, actually a restaurant, and he was worried about the power being out. So I'm like, "Mike, you drive wherever you want to." And so I'm just riding along in his car in my boxers. He doesn't care. He's like,
wow, that's awesome.
He actually said, "If this is the worst that ever you've done, then I can outstory you any day of the week, Colby, pretty much."
Right, certainly, man. Well, good news. We don't have a sub pump, and I live very close to the church. If
there you go. I'm gonna have no reason to.
You'd probably be a little less embarrassed coming to me than some little nice old lady. That poor woman.
Well, the thing is, I told the story at church, and I told my mom, of course, and my brother, and he's a preacher too. And I have actually run into people that I hardly even know who says, "I heard about."
Yeah, really.
And there might be people in Winnsboro watching this video going, "He's the guy." I don't know, because I got relatives down there too in Longview. But
your reputation precedes you. Good night. That's funny.
It was a funny morning, and actually, I was kind of proud of myself, or
Yeah.
appreciative of how the Holy Spirit works, because that morning I was going to include in my sermon the point about Hosea
Yeah.
and how Gomer, how Hosea went and got her back even though she had not made good choices, and
Right.
so I made that more the central focus of my sermon, and then I used the imagery of
That's cool.
here we are at God's doorstep, soaking wet in our underwear, full of shame and guilt and sin and all those things, and God says, "Come on in." Let's get
cool.
you dried off, get you
That's good.
back to normal. And anyway, I thought it kind of sold that part of my
like a true preacher. You were able to find it.
I guess so. Actually,
there's a lesson learned.
What I thought, and even when I told Mike, when I got to his house and we were driving around heading back, he said, "So are you going to tell people?" I said, "Absolutely. This is too good not to use."
Right. I finally got a good story.
Preachers, dream of this stuff, and it might actually happen to me for real. So I'm going to absolutely use it.
Definitely, man.
Anyway, it was a
well, thank you for a good laugh. Hopefully, if anybody's watching this in the morning with us, then hopefully you didn't spill your coffee during that. But that's a good one, man. Well, cool. Well, hey, I guess to move along and everything, one question that I have for you, it's something that I'm considering myself, and I'm certainly been talking to some other ministers and friends of mine that are in ministry and everything, and really just wondering, and I was going to ask you personally, how do you see this whole virus thing really affecting how you do ministry, I guess, after the fact, once this is all over and everything? What ways do you see this impacting your own ministry personally? And I guess you could tie that into the church as a whole, but I'll let you just kind of take it wherever you see fit.
And that is a good question, and I guess one that I'm probably not able to answer 100% accurate right now. I mean, that's been 5 years from now. We can have the hindsight probably, but one part of ministry, I guess, that never changes, one that some of my early mentors kind of expressed to me or tried to open my eyes to is, part of ministry is simply just rolling with it. You get a lot of unexpecteds, and sometimes you're called to do more things than study and prepare a sermon, obviously. Sometimes you are called to do some hard manual labor, or just, fix a sump pump. Sometimes you are called to walk with people through some pretty ugly seasons of life. Or maybe having to go through them yourselves because we're not immune to them. And anyway, that part of the preacher's maybe best tools they can have in their belt is just the ability to be adaptable and be versatile, and just take each day at a time, and just to not let it overwhelm you, but you just don't find so much emphasis in your structure or the way you do ministry, because ministry is different every day. So, and this just proves that point. And so maybe I'll continue to get better at embracing the changes in front of us. But I'd say more to the question itself is what's going to be different, or maybe what permanent impacts it can have. One thing is that I've been humbled a little bit just at the thought that when it comes to the online recorded worship services that we've done, especially the first couple of weeks, we started to add some songs and other people participating in other ways too, which I think is great. I mean, certainly we can all participate in worship. That's what worship's about. And that's usually what I emphasize as far as worship is about us. And it's about how we do it together, and not nearly as much about listening to a preacher stand behind the pulpit. Because I grew up going to church, and you want to guess how many sermons I remember, from the preachers I sat in the pew? And so I know full well that My
Right.
messages, are not like every week, aren't the thing that people hold on to necessarily, or the thing that transforms them. But when you think about week after week after week and month after month, year after year, those messages do accumulate. And I think that's where I step into that role. But one way that I've been humbled is, I think people come to church for a lot of reasons other than the preacher.
Definitely.
But I guess with our online worship service and people needing to fill that void, certainly, but it's hard not to have the thought or be humbled by the thought of they are logging onto that YouTube channel to listen to me.
Right.
At least for that duration where I am the person there. Because, when you come to the church building, you would want to see other people. If I was just there by myself, you'd probably be disappointed.
I mean, I don't know if you're in your boxers and undershirt, you might surprise some people. They might have to see what we're about at that point, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you don't live something like that down, that's for sure.
That's a good point, right? It's, typically, I think for us as ministers and everything, we rely on the fact that, it's not all about us. It's not all about
comforting. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the community and the family that we have. And obviously there's some ways that's conveyed through online things where people are able to send each other messages and stuff like that. But like you're saying, on a weekly basis, as far as the worship service goes, a lot of it does come down to the message, right?
It does. And so that makes me kind of rethink or reevaluate my role. And sometimes you can be maybe dismissive. I'm sometimes dismissive myself because I realize I'm not that important, but there's something too, and that's just been kind of focused on me or been presented to me or shown in my face more brightly, maybe, where I can't really deny the fact that God has asked me to be the messenger, and I need to take that role seriously and to understand its potential implications. And I think maybe this is helping me do that better.
Right.
And then also coupled with that is the idea that I hope that I also get better at using the means I have to communicate that message.
Certainly.
Like the video things we've been doing and are doing, and the Facebook Lives that we do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and and not that all of that will necessarily continue, but I hope I will find the ways that work really well, that me and you together, just as a church as a whole can find, what do we have at our disposal that can really help us communicate this message? Because the thing is, even though I have this place, a role in delivering the message on a Sunday morning that I want to embrace or do a better job of actually embracing, maybe than I have in the past, I also want to completely depend on it's God's message. And I get to be its proclaimer. But it is his message. And so if we really think of that, well, am I using every avenue I have to do it as well as I can? And I hope that is something that is spurred on by our current situation, and that I do get better at as weeks and the months to come.
I think you make a really good point. Sorry, I needed to clear my throat there, but
that's right.
I've kind of been thinking along those same lines too, especially here recently, obviously I'm dealing with youth primarily, but throughout all this, I've kind of had my hand heavy in what we're putting out there and everything. And there's times where I have to really kind of encourage myself a little bit to keep doing it, because it's so different. It's so different to do these videos and, then see my face almost every other day online if I scroll through my own social media and stuff.
I don't want to be narcissistic, but at the same time, I guess the counterbalance is maybe making me consider more, like you're saying, is maybe it's actually what some people at least need, and especially what God wants to use us to do, and and to get over that inherent shyness that I still have, even though I'm a preacher, I still have, quite a bit of inherent shyness. And that is, well, Colby, you're no better than any of the other 7 whatever billion people on this planet by any means. I don't believe that I am, but embrace the role you do have.
Exactly.
And take it seriously, and that you have an impact on the people around you, on the church family that you're serving and connected to, and don't backpedal so much that you forget to step up and do the job you're called to do. And so all that's, I guess, being reinforced in my head and in my heart too.
I think that's a good answer, and a good point that you make there is, when we do finally get through this, and I believe we will. I don't know that it will look the same, but I think that there are certain things that we're learning during this time that hopefully we can utilize to at least do what I think is probably potentially our main goal as far as being a minister, and that's equipping the saints for the work of ministry in my mind. And I mean, I commend you for what you've been doing, taking the time to do all these videos and stuff. And I mean, we see it even every Friday. Hopefully you watched yesterday's video. I believe Chris was the one supposed to be doing it. And I hope it goes well. We haven't finally done that yet. Spoiler alert. This is on Thursday night, actually, but anyway. But
it's not Saturday morning.
Right. This isn't live. Anyway. But yeah, I think that even with doing those, where I appreciate everybody who's willing to send in these videos of you singing with your family and stuff, because I think those are ways that we as a body, we as a church, can minister to those around us and show the love of Christ to those around us. And so maybe in some ways, like you're saying, Colby, this is kind of calling us as ministers out a little bit, and even us as a church on the bigger scale of how do we utilize these mediums that we have. Who would have ever thought that we'd be uploading videos to YouTube and Facebook and stuff and sharing them out. And I would encourage you with that, and just know that I appreciate all that you're doing, certainly.
Wow, thank you.
Because I've seen how you've been working, and like you were saying, the narcissist aspect. I think the key is knowing somebody's heart, and sure, somebody may come along these videos and think, oh, those guys just want attention. But what's encouraged me is just like, I look at you, and I can honestly say I've gotten to know you pretty well the last month or two. And man, I know your heart, and I know why you're doing this, and it's certainly not to gain recognition. So, yeah, man.
Appreciate it. And,
absolutely.
And I just want to, all the time, but I think this particular crisis can help us just step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a baseball player doesn't necessarily step up to the plate to show off. He does it to do his job. And I think as a church, as a big part of us, I think that maybe this should wake us up to them. We step up to the plate and do what God has actually called us to do in so many ways, more than just online videos. But maybe it can open the door for a whole lot more.
No doubt. I like the baseball analogy. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll kind of try to wrap this up, and maybe getting a little long here and everything, but I really appreciate you sharing your answers to these questions. And I guess to close, is there anything coming up?
For putting that.
Thank you again, Lisa, for an entertaining morning for us. But yeah, anything going on with this upcoming sermon? Maybe anything that you left out, or anything you'd like to add before we get to enjoy it tomorrow for worship?
I'll just say that it's going to be a 2-part lesson. It's on chaos and God being over chaos. And this first lesson is the Old Testament, more centered, and the second lesson will be more from the New Testament, examples out of the New Testament for that, obviously pointing to Jesus. But for this one, I would strongly encourage you. I used the very beginning of Job chapter 41 in my sermon. Job chapter 38, 39, 40, and 41 are just this amazing passage from the very lips of God himself that show that beautifully portray and sarcastically kind of portray even. It's a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's also just extremely eye opening that he is in control. And
Absolutely.
so as you look forward to maybe Sunday, is crack open Job, and especially just kind of let yourself be drawn into chapters 38 through 41, and let those words spoken by God so long ago to Job, let them kind of imprint upon you and say, well, he is God, and that means he is over all. And just let that sink in, I guess, would be my encouragement for you. I love those chapters. And I couldn't do all 4 of them in my sermon, but just a few verses.
I had the pleasure of, they were in my reading plan that I'm doing just this past week. So
awesome.
I really enjoyed that. I waited a day because it included 38 in one day, and then 39 through 41 were the next day.
It's split 38 and 39? Oh.
I'm telling you, I saved 38. I got to 38 and I stopped. I said, I'll read that tomorrow. I saved it. So it was good. Well, awesome. Colby, thank you again for taking your time to join us, man. And hopefully we can maybe get you to do some coffee tutorials for us and everything.
Yeah. I got my French press here. Or maybe I'll introduce you to my
That's sweet.
Complicated coffee making.
I like that. That's probably the nicest French press I've seen.
Yeah, it's a lot of them are glass, but that one's just solid metal. It's a little bit more durable. I take it camping. I take it to church camp actually with me when I go. And
awesome.
It holds up really well.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining us for Coffee with Colby. We pray that you have a great day, but we'd also love for you to send any questions that you have for Colby. Maybe they're...
Don't let Lisa do anymore.
Exactly. They could be personal, or they could even be more kind of church related too. So we'd love to hear your questions, or maybe even any comments you have to send his way. So yeah, Colby, thank you so much again. And we look forward to worshiping with you all tomorrow.